You're on.
Are we all set?
I'm just pulling it up. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Good morning, it's October 7th, 2019. I'm going to call the Selectmen's meeting to order, and the first order of business is saluting the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There's no justice for you at all. All right, we had a non-public earlier. The first order of business is the approval of minutes. The first minutes for the public meeting on Friday, September 20th.
I didn't see any changes. I move approval. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the next is September 23rd.
I'm all set. I move approval. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the last is, this is a non-public. Non-public on, was this a non-public? No, this is
No,
a
it's work session on the 26th.
26th.
I move approval. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is Steve Wingate, conservation easement on 6821. So let's do a gag order, and I should pull my ears as well.
Previous time.
You're going to recuse yourself from this discussion because you have an interest in this particular
I am,
property, right? Yeah.
I am accusing myself.
In the previous meeting, I informed you of the desire by the Lake Region Conservation Trust and with cooperation from the Old Tucker Land Bank to purchase the Albee property at Pleasant Mountain, and that they had asked Tuckerborough to hold the conservation easement on it. And the commission has voted to support that. At the time, I didn't ask you to vote. Now, Lake Region Conservation Trust has applied for L-chip grant funding for the purchase, and the grant paperwork required that they have the vote from the selectmen that Tuckerborough will hold the easement. So I'm asking for a vote for that.
Okay, so I will move that the board approve the holding of a conservation easement on this property by the Conservation Commission.
I'll second that, and I have two questions. Is that lot 68-2-1 on our tax records?
Yes.
And second question is, future dollars for that the town will need to spend on this easement? Do you understand my question?
Yes. The town will be asked to do maintenance on, solve erosion problems on North Line Road, a Class 6 road. I think that will be the extent of requests for that. And part of that will probably involve, in the process, trying to create a parking opportunity for the public so that they can access the property. But there's nothing.
And do you anticipate that there will be sources of non-tax funding that might be available to support those efforts.
I couldn't say that, no. Lake Region Conservation Trust, as the property owner, will be the leader in proposing or asking for anything like that. My guess is on the North Line Road part, at least the argument I would make is it's a town responsibility to maintain that.
It's not.
If nothing else, just to prevent erosion.
Except that it's a Class 6 road, so we don't maintain Class 6 roads. And if we're gonna,
Well, I'm not talking about maintaining it as a road, I'm talking about maintaining it as a town resource that, in its current state, it contributes erosion to 19 Mile Brook, the headwaters of 19 Mile Brook. I think it's 19.
That's fine.
Yeah?
I think I'm accusing myself.
It's one of the,
There's two lots as well.
It's 20.
There are two lots involved.
so,
But, none of that's been proposed. I would anticipate it. And it would be a request rather than a demand.
okay. All right, so it's not a requirement. Understand, okay. I guess we cross that bridge. I'll consider that request when it's made, right?
So part of the application will require what's called a stewardship plan. So Lake Region Conservation Trust would look at, actually would hire a contractor like Rick Vanpool. I'm sure he'll probably go to him. And he would look at the property and say, to be a good environmental steward, you should probably do these things. So, and I know one of the things is gonna be the old roads that go up there. They have a erosion problem. And some of that contributes to what's happening on 19 Mile Brook. Or, on North Line Road.
Yeah.
On one portion of North Line Road. But I think North Line Road will be the other thing. And there'll be another part that will recognize the value of making this property available to the public. And then that will propose probably some kind of parking at the end of the Class 5 portion of North Line Road.
and you have other parcels for a number of years that have been in stewardship like this. I'm thinking the house right at 20 Mile Bay, you park and walk, can walk through those properties and it hasn't been a burden. You had a donation to make a parking lot for off Sodom Road for the Great Meadow easement, and it hasn't been a burden to the town.
Typically, Lake Region Conservation Trust, and they will be in the driver's seat. Typically, they fund what they want to do on the property that they own. As easement holders, we're more in the checking business. If you do what you promise to do. So, I don't see us taking any obligation like that. I think that there will be the idea presented that we have an obligation to prevent erosion from occurring on the Class 6 portion of the road. And to some extent, right now, I know considerable amount of logging occurred on the north side of the road. And it looks to me like there could be a plan to do that on the south side of the road. And in that case, the landowner involved would want to use that Class 6 road. And I think you can apply the conditions that would say, when you're done, put water bars in these locations, prevent erosion in these locations. And it would solve a lot of the problems that are occurring out there.
Okay.
Just take some active participation that way.
All right, you want to call the question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
If
Okay.
you, we have two other things that are not on the agenda, can I bring them up? Similar things.
Sure. Back to you, sir.
Several years ago, we accepted a conservation easement from Kate Nesbitt. Kind of a location map, that's out of Tuckleboro Neck. I apologize for not bringing you individual maps. Our map program that we're working right now, and I haven't learned how to use the avatar thing. So this Tuckleboro Neck, highlighted in yellow, is the easement we already hold. You can see some,
Is that Cross Neck Road that I'm looking at?
yeah,
Yes.
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, that's Cross Neck right
Yeah.
there. This is another map. It's in her forestry plan, that shows that main area right here. And then there's these two legs that go off. One goes off this way, and, whoops, I'm showing it. I should show it to you this way. Oops, right here. Like that. So that's Cross Neck Road going north down to the Broads. So that's the part that's an easement right now, and there's this piece that goes down like this, and there's this piece that slides over here. That was part of the property when she originally bought it. She didn't put it in the easement because she thought she might be able to make some adjustments with the adjacent landowners somehow to make this a better chunk. And none of that worked, so now she wants to extend the easement out to this. So it would go from 35 to 48 acres of.
Is it a non-contiguous parcel?
No, they're all attached.
Okay.
Does that go all the way to the lake? Is that what I'm saying?
This one actually does. There's a little 70-foot piece that goes down to the lake. And so she's at the point now where she wants to make sure that this will fly.
Is this in current use currently?
It's in current use now.
All right, so the impact tax-wise is gonna be negligible.
Yeah. She has a stewardship plan, so she's in the lowest tax category of current use.
And this is gonna get included in that stewardship plan,
It's already in the stewardship.
the pieces
Yeah,
that
the only thing that was different about this is, this central area was the only thing that was observed out of the entire 47.6 acres. And she also created a public walking trail there. So now that we're gonna create the whole thing, and then I think she plans to extend the trail down in this direction with the trail that goes down.
Well, I'm gonna make a motion, we allow Ms. Nesbitt to increase the amount of land conservation as described by Stephen Gate.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, the one other thing is the Farm Island. It was stated at the meeting that where the parking lot is across the street, it could possibly be expanded.
Right.
So that it's 19 Mile Bay, that's called the Lamprey lot right here. And the parking area is right here. And Fran Lassie stated that that was under conservation easement.
And it isn't.
It actually is.
Is it? Really?
And I gotta give Kate Nesbitt credit for this. She has been working with our secretary Linda to clean up our files, which have been a mess for years. And they've been working hard at this. And they came across this while they were cleaning things up, and she asked me about it. I actually thought it was another place, so I was confused. But we have no other paperwork other than the easement and one note to the file by Christine Kennison in 2000. I believe she was the vice chair of the commission at that time, and she was kind of heading up easements. And she researched it to see if it was still being held by the state. that's the Department of Transportation, holds this easement. And indeed, it was true. And one thing she notes in here, this research revealed that PennDOT is still the holder of, the answer to that, is still the holder of this easement. And still holder of the easement. And he mentioned, this is what the person she was talking to down at DOT, that they would be more than likely passing it on. I don't know what that means, other than he anticipated another agency actually being responsible for the easement. That's all we have, other than the easement document itself, which was signed by the selectmen at that time in 1993. I think it's got a list of, this is a very simple easement, it's only 2 pages. Compared to what we would have today, that would look more like this. Has a bunch of clauses, the most pertinent ones: the property shall be retained in perpetuity in its undeveloped natural scenic and open space conditions. And number 5, no changes in topography, surface and subsurface water systems, wetlands, or natural habitat shall be allowed unless any such alteration is approved by the New Hampshire Wetlands Board. And I think that's the part that would cover a parking structure. But we do have a parking structure there. I asked,
But that went after 93,
yeah,
so how did that happen?
and I wondered if that was in some connection to this research that was done in 2000 with no, well, no. So I asked Mike Phelps and Fran Lassie if they knew how that parking area was actually put in here with this easement still in effect. And both of them thought that this was some kind of a trade-off, because it was a parking area in the current highway right-of-way, where the highway, the new location where the highway is now. And somehow they agreed to make this parking area to compensate for eliminating that former parking area. And that's all they can remember. So it's just, there's gotta be some history in a file somewhere.
So a change to that parking area would require the easement holder's concurrence.
Yeah, and there is a clause in there that mentions 2 RSAs that are relative to the administration of these. And my guess is that the language is in those RSAs somewhere. Normally, today, we have them in the document that says if you want to change something here, this is what you have to go through. And it's usually an agreement between the easement holder and the property owner. And the way we do easements today, we try to anticipate, anything that might come up in the future, and that becomes a clause on how you make that adjustment. And that's one of the reasons they're so long, is it tries to cover all of those things.
And I think the alteration of terrain, wetlands language is just a restatement of statute. It's not, if you don't encounter a wetland, an area that you're altering, you don't have to go through the permitting process for wetlands. And it's not all wetland down there, as Frank
No.
Lassie looked at to us.
But the language covers all of the land and it actually says and habitat. If you take away forest and you make the parking area, you change the habitat. But that's all I know.
Okay.
I think if you want to think about expanding a parking lot, you probably need to do some research on how it happened in the first place and who you have to talk to.
You might want to do it closer to the beach anyway. Do it closer to the beach as opposed to across the street. We're not getting any crosswalks, so maybe it's time to start taking houses down there and creating a park. Hopefully you're
It
watching.
says Chris Henson has the Mylar. It's a handwritten note.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll ask.
Well, I don't, I think that reference is just to a map that shows where all the conserved properties are in town. It's not specific to this.
Well, thank you for your research.
Anything
Okay.
else? That's it? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next item for thought is Jack Parsons.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good. So we've done 6 building permits, 13 new homes, and I've done 383 so far. And up on Mountain Road at Straws, I talked to him on Wednesday. The person that was supposed to take one of the items, which was a salvage yard, backed out, so he was in the process of chopping it up. So I'm going there this afternoon to
Help him chop it up.
Well, so
No.
that's what that is. I figured it was like 2 days and the course of years isn't too bad. So
And remind me, everything that's sitting on that lot on Dame Road at the corner is registered?
everything that's sitting, at Masterson's,
I think it, I don't know.
82. Yeah, it was when the last time I checked. Yes. Yeah. So,
And
but they're in the next process with the town attorney. So
no additional
all the other junk.
boat business going on in Ledge Hill Road?
I see one once in a while on his truck, but nothing's being done. But I think it's just
A lot less activity.
goes away. Yeah.
What about the backland of Holmes?
The back land at Homes.
Yeah, he was gonna go down and cut up all those boats and get them out of there.
He
This-
has got rid of a few, and actually some they salvaged it. The guy that was with him actually fixed them up, I think.
Oh, that's fine. That's great.
So there's more stuff is gone. It's pretty soft back into there, logging through and everything.
Having the unfortunate circumstances of being married to a lawyer, I need you to inform our contractor at the library that people need to wear hard hats and safety harnesses. And I know they're gonna say they don't have to do that. That's fine. But I don't want the town liable for any injuries on that job at all.
Okay.
And if we don't notify them, we'd like them to be compliant with OSHA regulations.
I think they had the harnesses when they did the back side of the roof.
Yeah, I didn't notice. I didn't even go down and see that, so I just was watching some guy throwing material off of the frame, and a guy was catching it down on the ground, and I'm thinking, this is just stupid. So I just want to make sure that the town has done its due diligence.
Okay.
However they operate, that's their
Yeah.
business.
No problem.
They're insured.
Now, we had a submission from the transfer station next year in their budget for additional work on their heating system.
Mhm.
And I know you talked with a contractor
Mhm.
relative to that. Because my understanding when the boiler was replaced is that fixed the issue.
To a point, yes. I mean, it'll be good for quite some time the way it sits.
But the controls,
It doesn't have to have new controls, no. It's firing harder than it did. It's just, it could fire harder, but it's a lot better than it was, and it could last another 20 years the way it is. So, it doesn't, they don't need to be changed. It was a request, but it doesn't have to happen. I would spend the money in the doors up there.
yeah.
2 man doors, the double door and the single door.
Do those doors have to open out legally?
They should open out. And
In case you have a radio in there.
they should be, instead of steel doors, I would use fiberglass doors. And they won't rot. So,
So
But it's
I
been a
know
long time
he's,
since that was, I mean, we've got 25 years.
oh, yeah. I mean,
Well, it's
it was
not-
original boiler, so, yeah.
But even the doors.
Exactly, everything I think is original, so.
yeah. So, has Clay talked with you about the kind of doors he's looking at?
pretty much, I believe, what's there, except for he wants to put some crash bars on and closers. Just so, I mean, the reason we handle the outside of it, either a thumb latch or a turn latch, so they do close, but on the inside, you can just
Right,
push them out. So
right. And
it's pretty windy there.
you can work with him to make sure that whatever we go after
Yeah, yeah.
is the appropriate thing.
Right, yeah, we
You know.
should have what they call a handicap threshold on, so there's not a big hump on the inside, it's transition to both sides.
All right, so that's gonna come forward in the form of a warrant article for
Well,
all that transfer stuff?
well, if we're not gonna do the boiler stuff, and we're just talking about $4,000 worth of
It's
doors,
just maintenance.
then I think you just go to the maintenance line,
Right.
so.
So we need to do that prior to, when's Clay coming back? I've got a budget.
Middle of the month, I think.
Okay, so it won't be the next
Yeah.
budget meeting, but it'll be the following one.
Right, so I'm working on something for the town office as well, so.
Okay,
Maybe
great.
next year, repair the cupola.
Nice. Okay, thanks for playing.
Okay.
The next item is the police facility with Alpha Architects. I see them out there. Chief Police.
Good morning.
How are you?
Or you.
Good thing.
Okay. So where are we? Bring me up to speed. I'm looking at where an item one has been completed. Yeah, it has.
Largely, we never issued a final report. There are some dollars left in that application. I guess part of the question was, do you feel you want a polished final article of that, or do you want to retask those dollars to something else? There is about $2,800 left under our original agreement.
Right.
So you've all seen the draft report. I said we could polish that and make it a finished article. Really not, the content isn't going to substantially change, it just makes it a document you can put on file.
And you're saying that would be accomplished with the $2,800?
Well, 2,800 includes presentation.
Okay.
We had assumed there would be some form of presentation to the town.
Oh, at the town meeting?
Whichever forum you thought was most appropriate.
There's not that much work on
No, it's tidying, I mean, it's a lot, it's 90% there, it's done, really. I think we've got conclusions out of it.
Could the presentation be done at the budget hearing? So, budget committee's in the loop?
Yeah, I mean, I think, then one of the three of us has to come way up to speed on this deal so that we can present it to the town, because we're gonna be asking for money. And, unless the chief wants to get involved in public speaking.
Okay.
Because it would be nice if we could establish a final cost or a round figure for a final cost. Then we'll know what we need to raise this year and also raise subsequently.
it. And that's kind of what item 3, item 4 are, is that we talked in a previous meeting that we would develop the plans a bit more to a presentation standard and then put a cost against that, which would be a little more updated than what we included in the report. The report has only got minimal information from mechanical, electrical, and structural, and plans obviously are very schematic. So the first number, the item 2 was the full set of construction documents and
Right.
pricing, which obviously you don't have that budget for now.
Which we were talking about presenting as a warrant article.
Next year, 2020 expenditure.
But a schematic design, how much, that's $5,000, and then the System outline, design, costing, architecturally, what part of that $9,800 is Alva's money?
It's about half of that, the 9880. We're around half of that. The MEP and structural is the
So
other half.
$5,000.
So if you take out the 28.2, then from what's left over by item 1, then that would cover about half, a little more than half of our fees. And then the rest of it would be MEP.
We need about 10. We need to make it work lovely. And we can
Right,
work with
right.
what we have. Do we want to scour around for another $7,000?
Well, we have some money in the police operating budget that you know you're not gonna spend this year,
There is some, yes.
right?
Yeah,
And how much is that?
that's probably about 4,000.
Okay,
All right.
Right, because we're looking at the, just 7,000 and change. If you
beyond
told us
what
to proceed,
we have now, right?
if we recast
That
2,800, that's.
Yeah, I just, I'm not concerned about HED's work or Coppin construction.
But that's part of this.
Right.
Getting to this, in other words,
See, what I was.
this is what we're gonna have to pay to get all this work done. To
Right.
get-
Well,
to
what I
get-
have done, just so,
Yeah,
is I'd like to have a schematic design, and I'd like to have the architectural portion of this done. Just my position. The engineering and structural engineering and civil engineering and preliminary budget analysis. I mean, we can meet a cost, but, so I was combining the first item and item 2, and the first item and item 2, to try to get to some sizzles that I can work with.
But I think, I'm just cautious that if we don't spend a little bit of time on the engineering, we can't give really solid good direction to Carpill who's doing the estimate, because their plan was they would take that section, go to basically a single source. They would bring it out to individual subcontractors. They wouldn't bid it to like 3 electricians, but they'd go to one they use regularly, so the numbers we would have would be fairly solid versus the numbers we have right now are really just based on square foot historical data. That was, all we had time to do within the first pass of this.
So okay, I guess the answer to my question would be, are we gonna have something in hand other than engineering reports that we can show to the public? Is there gonna be a plan?
Yeah, the total number for item 3 would include us developing our drawings further
Okay.
and giving you a presentation standard, elevations, model, and some plans and sections. And then there would be a very outlined specification for finishes and systems, which we would use the MEP consultants to develop and structural. And then Carpill would put a number on that. So yes, all the drawings that you want and the pricing that you want would all be included in the 988.
Okay, so we need to raise $7,000. Chief has 4,
right.
we need 3.
So I'm comfortable going forward with the provision that we can find within other items in the budget, and I know there's money there,
Yeah,
enough to cover it. So
okay.
I move that we go forward with item 3, which includes the items you just discussed.
Architectural, MEP, structural engineering, civil engineering, preliminary budget analysis.
Right, and the important thing is that then we'll be able to have pictures, if you will, for people to look at, and better numbers that we can.
These obviously are not going to be bid numbers. They're not
No,
gonna be
well,
organized.
but again, we're gonna be more than a year out from a bid anyway. But it's gonna be,
And Carpill will instruct them to err a little bit on the high side, so that we're not.
Yeah, just be comfortable on it, because, I mean, with the library, for instance, we went through a number of iterations of capital reserve building, and that's what's gonna happen hopefully in March, is that we're gonna build the capital reserve a little more for the police department, and know more or less where we stand for 2020,
2021, yeah.
on what we need for money at that point. Obviously, it's gonna be more cost analysis and budgeting, et cetera, to get to that point, but it would give us an idea.
Before I vote on anything, Chief, do you have anything to add or like to say? It's your building.
No, I'm just glad it's going forward. There is, I mean, Diane raised the $2,000 that was given as a retainer at the beginning, so I don't know how that fits in with that 9,000. And the other question that I raised, I think in an email to you, was, it sounded like the last time we talked, it was like 9,000 gets us, how much of that 9,000, we're looking at 60,000 or so, right, if I recall, for next year,
To do the full,
to do everything.
yeah.
How much of that 9,000 is in that 60,000, if any? 'Cause it sounded like the last time we talked, that was part of it, was like, you could do 90,000, 60,000 do everything, 10,000, that would take some of that away,
See, it's
from the
split.
last time we talked.
Chief, it's split. He's got, I don't know if you've got a copy of this.
Yeah, I didn't get a copy, I didn't bring one with me, but that was, as I recall, our last conversation that we had, there was like, there was a presentation, 60,000, which is that, and then there was 10,000 or so you estimated, it was seat of the pants at the time.
Right.
And then some of that might be part of that 60,000, so I didn't.
Yeah, it is. So effectively all of the MEP, they will have done their schematic portion in this 9.8. So about the 5,000 of their work is coming out of that 60,000. And then a portion of ours as well will come out of it. I think.
So then we'll be able to look, given that we're going to proceed with getting what we just talked about, then you'll be able to give us an update on the next piece that we need to raise in 2020, correct?
Right, because you will be presenting a warrant article, I guess, to raise the funds for architectural engineering.
Yes. Right.
So we would,
That's
so that
item
would be
three.
that wouldn't be the 60,000, it'd be less than that, because there'll be
Some of
dollars
that,
spent in this go around that would normally be attributed in that.
That's-
So it'd be, 50 to 55, it's gonna be in that range
Right.
probably. We'll refine that and get you an exact number.
Yeah,
But it's gonna be less than 60.
I guess my point is also because some people aren't here, but they might, watch the video and see
Yes.
the minutes, that, yes, it's 60,
All two of them.
but I mean, 60,000 next year might not be 60,000 if we spend a few dollars this year, is my point.
Yeah, the main difference is going to be the presentation drawings that we would do for this wouldn't necessarily be part of construction drawings, but that part of it would be.
yeah, we need to talk about, my expectation is we're not just gonna raise 60 grand for Alba's work, we're gonna raise, say, 260 grand, so we have $1,200,000 sitting in the bank to go forward. But that's a discussion we need to have with you guys, actually.
I want to go back and ask you for your opinion. You come up with $4,000. Are there projects or funds that are needed in the police department to do certain things? For example, are the computers getting done this year?
Yes, they'll be getting done, we have to, because they're, not the in-car ones, we were scheduled to do one. I've got to make some calls to figure out what we're doing on that, because there may be, we have to do more, but we'll get a grant that will bring the net down. So it might be a little bit, but some things are going over, because
I will tell
we
you,
have to do some extra
as
training.
much as I want you in a new building, I want your officers safe out there with dead spots. And are there any other projects like cruiser maintenance or patrol function that these funds could be used for, or are you all set?
I mean, we're gonna be over on a few lines, I know, training and a few other things. We've spent some things on training that hadn't been expected or things came out higher. But, we'll be all right. We'll be all right.
Yeah, it's important that you have some skin in the game, so I appreciate the 4,000.
I know the modems were one thing that was in the budget that we're not gonna be doing because the new computers will have them built in. But we'll be looking at getting them next year, some of them. One was scheduled this year, but so the 4,000 was allocated for that. I don't see a need to use for that purpose this year.
All right.
This is not stripping you down to nothing.
No.
This is just
I hope so.
a chunk that you identified you're not gonna have to spend on something else, and that's all.
So you're gonna make a motion?
I did.
Oh, you did?
I made the motion, but
Did
I
we
don't
get
think it was
seconded?
seconded.
I'll second it. Okay, could you restate it?
That we have ABBA Architects proceed with what they identify as item 3 in here, which will provide us with drawings and better costing on the police facility for presentation going forward.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're all in favor. Okay, great. Anything else on our plate?
So I guess just to clarify timing and process and what your expectations are in terms of presentation and when we need numbers for certain, I mean, if some of this is going into a warrant article for next year, I mean, you mentioned you sent it to the budget committee versus, and town meeting, not that we don't want to do town meeting, it's just, we have various municipal projects and we may get stretched in on town meetings depending on how they all fall. I think you do the evening town meeting or do you do a Saturday?
We do evening, Wednesday evening.
It's a Wednesday.
Okay.
Okay.
Tuesday vote, Wednesday meet.
Okay.
I have
Which is the
schedule of town meeting. No, it's somewhere. I think if we can get this, I mean, I don't want to put you on too long a leash, but January, if we can get it put together.
It'd be like early January for the warrant article requirements, wouldn't it?
Well, the only thing you're gonna need for the warrant article is gonna be a revised number, correct?
Yeah, all I need for that is the money thing, but as far as the presentation, we don't, the day before town meeting, it'd be nice to be able to review it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we're not gonna keep it fresh in the memory.
Yeah, so if you can start on it,
Right.
give us an update from time to time between now and the end of the year.
And obviously, we're gonna make further progressing the floor plans and elevations, so we're gonna have some feedback. We don't want to present something totally unfair.
And keep us abreast of the cost as you go, because we may have to encumber something going out of this year for whatever process you're gonna have in January, February, prior to town meeting. So we'll encumber whatever funds we've got for the 2019 budget that we're using to pay this $9,800. So it'll stretch out into the January timeframe.
Okay. So,
Okay, we
just-
budget annually, so January 1st, or actually December 31st, all the money in the 2018 budget, 19 budget goes away. It's all spent.
all right, so if we haven't billed for it,
So if you
that's-
haven't billed for it,
Unless we specifically set it aside before the
so
end of
if
December.
you know you're gonna bill us for the balance of this $9,800, say January 15th, you need to let us know prior to December 31st,
right.
so we can encumber the funds.
No, I think we'll make an internal goal that we have this next round wrapped up before the end of the year.
Okay, yeah, that'll be great.
Before, I would think, hopefully, early December, late November, early December, we'd like to be done with it.
Great.
So, one more question that I have, I know we talked about this quite a while back with respect to emergency operations centers and grant.
Into that vein.
So, and my recollection is that can be a significant piece of the funding for the whole place, but the earlier we can get a feel for if it's possible and kind of the general magnitude, that helps us in terms of.
Well, it's gonna probably be generated by your design, I would think. Don't they have a lot of design requirements for?
Yes, but I mean, as long as we are identifying part of the facility as your emergency operations center, I think the unknown is gonna be, that would be a 2021 then, assuming you get a positive vote
Right.
moving forward. It's a Homeland Security grant, which I just don't know with next year also being an election year,
What's gonna happen?
where grant funding may or may not be. So I guess I think it'd be prudent that we design in.
Right.
Yeah.
There will be costs associated with upgrades.
Is this anything you have any expertise in, Chief?
Not that I'm not familiar with it. I mean, I know some of the online equipment grants, but not for the
Well, we
facility.
just don't wanna fall behind and say, okay,
No.
I wish we put this item in the design, does it qualify for
Right,
this
right.
one? So, that's all.
The other one, but no, we wouldn't catch them using this facility as any type of emergency shelter. No, because there's typically grant funding available for those facilities too. But no, we'll work around the emergency operations center.
All right.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Anything else?
And if you probably at least are familiar with where the grant criteria requirements are for these, this
Yes.
building security thing.
Yeah.
Maybe you could just do the
Yeah, I think we're
so we can
elaborate on that.
you know, get an idea of what's out there. You know, whether it's, grant funding is obviously always, can be highly variable and, you know, which way the wind's blowing at a particular time, but if we have an understanding of what the process is and the criteria, I think that will help us.
No, we'll work through that with the chief, because the last one we did, it's based on, well, assuming we haven't changed the rules from now and then, it's based on how much of the building, the overall facility is your emergency operations center. So the more square footage we can legitimately say as part of the emergency operations center, you can apply that for grant funding. So, I mean, by extension, yeah, it becomes like hallways and bathrooms, because if you're there, you need to use a bathroom. So there's certain ways in which to make sure we're capitalizing on that as best as possible. So yeah, we'll work through this.
Good. All right, you're
Very
good to go.
Thank you. Thank you, folks. Travel safe.
Okay, the next item for business is Dennis Selectmen. Come on down. Excuse me.
Hello, young fella. How'd your Patriots go?
Second half was good, wasn't very good, yeah. First half, not too bad. How we doing?
Good.
Busy. Have copies. This is my first one, so procedures. But first, if you don't mind, I just want to promote 2 events this month before. One being the Harvest Festival down at the school. It's 4 to 6 on the 18th. We got all kinds of events planned with the PTO, hay rides and moon bounces and pumpkin decorating, carnival games. So, all you kids listening to YouTube, get down there. It should be a fun day. And the second thing, right here in this beautiful hall, we're gonna have a painting class on the 24th. 6 o'clock, $25. Back
And what kind of painting?
6 to, well, there's a couple hours, Ken?
Yeah.
Painting,
What
Karen?
kind? Is it watercolor, pastel?
She's the expert.
Acrylics, I'm pretty sure it's acrylic, yeah.
It's what?
Acrylics.
Acrylic?
Yeah, and it's gonna be something like that, they'll paint, I guess.
Yeah.
You want me to go line by line in the budget, or how does that work?
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's see if I've
Is that
got,
what you like me to do?
I think we've got a copy of
Yeah.
Parks and Rec, right?
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
So line 1 is the, I guess, I'm called program director, it's Parks and Rec director, but anyway, overall, the budget, I proposed here is just less than 3,000 than it was last year. The salary for myself, I put in for an extra 3 simply because of the increased program we anticipate over the next year. Right now, that, excuse me, that would be about $1,500 a month or $346 a week based on 797 hours with the new increase of $22.56. But it averages out to about 15 hours a week, which is probably something similar that I'm doing now. Again, the summer I think is a little more than 15, but
Winters and all
The
that.
winters, some weeks are 8 hours, 10 hours. And hopefully we can increase that through activities. And like right now, I'm submitting a grant to the Meredith Bank for some playground equipment. But anyway, that's what I put in for that. Number 2 is the swim coach, which again, this year was somewhat of a disappointment with only 4 kids signed up and actually paying 2 people. So my recommendation on that is simply to just take those 3 or 4 kids and let them join the Wolfboro team.
So we'll eliminate this
Well,
one.
to me, number one, it's not just a money thing. It's time that these lifeguards, which we're having a hard time getting, more time that they're putting into a program, which is now a longer day for them.
Diminishing returns.
So, that was my 2 reasons on that. I mean, that could change. I mean, if it's like we changed the night swim lessons because of the cry of the parents saying we need them. Well, that could change. That could change, but I think as of now,
Let's try it.
pardon me?
Let's try it before you
Yeah.
see if it works.
Yeah. And like I said, we went to only one meet, and it was over at Brewster Beach, and I looked at the Wolfboro team, and they had 50, 60 kids
Yeah.
on the team, so, maybe it's trying to beat a dead horse, I don't know, but I did eliminate that. The water safety instructors, again, is for the swim team, the lessons, and like I say, we did the night, which worked out okay. The 4th line is the Wolfboro fee, which, I think it gives our residents the same benefits that a Wolfboro resident would have, and I think the biggest item there is the skiing. Kid could go ski for $7, which is pretty good.
It's up to 7 now?
Well, I think last time I looked in the book,
Really?
their fee,
It used to be free.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, forever.
For residents?
Forever it was free.
Wow.
And now it's $7. It
But
used to be
$7,
$1.
I mean, non-residents.
It started out as $1, and it went to $2.
It did.
Now it's $7.
We're showing our age.
What was that, 1942 or what?
No, I was skiing there in the 70s and it was free.
Was it really?
Yeah, absolutely.
But when I first come out, I questioned that, parents a big amount, but I think a lot of our kids, we got a printout of how many of our different activities, tough to know kids did. There's quite a few.
Yeah, it's a safety issue too.
Of course it is, yeah.
For example, I know the summer programs have youngsters that I was responsible for. Let there be lightning across the lake or
Yeah.
thunder showers coming because of the heat, that they had indoor programs, they were safe. And boy, you can't put a dollar figure on that. Especially when you hear horrible things in the news.
I mean, they run a nice operation. They got, 3 full-time workers, and of course, a lot bigger than.
And they welcome us.
They do,
Welcome
no,
our
they
kids.
do, absolutely. The lifeguard training equipment, basically, buying in first aid, whistles.
So we haven't spent anything on that line. According to this.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah.
As of September, yeah, unless that's in another area. But we did buy lifeguard shirts and fanny packs and whistles and stuff like that.
So get with Diane and see, make sure that's.
Yeah.
that's posted.
Yeah, sometimes stuff ends up getting charged in the wrong place.
Yeah. Mhm.
So if it's something you spent the money on and it was a while ago,
Yeah,
it
Yeah.
may have just gotten in the wrong budget line.
yeah, and I think I know what the problem is there. The order, for some reason, you order it early on in time here. It seemed like it was 6 weeks, nothing, they couldn't find it, you sent the check, blah, blah, blah. And you call there and you're on hold for a half hour before they pick up. And we finally did get them in, but some was probably 2-3 weeks in.
Yeah.
So I think that might be a situation that the bill probably didn't get to.
So on your toilets,
Yeah,
you spent $2,700, so you're $300 over. Should we budget for 27 as opposed to
Yeah.
24?
oh, okay, yeah. I was working off the other one, that's the one guy gave you. Yeah, we probably should, huh?
Well, it would make sense, I don't like to, I mean, you haven't overspent your budget, obviously, but it's nice to match the numbers.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I didn't- when I did this one, this was at 22, so it was at 20, yeah.
Well, and we've already spent 27, and the year is not over.
Well, hopefully the beach and North Parades are over.
I don't think so. I don't think we're done.
Well, they take one of them away.
Yeah, but there's one still out there.
They stay.
So should we go to 3,000?
Well, kind of, yeah.
It is used in the winter by the ice fishermen.
Right, right.
I would have no problem making it 3,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so that,
Recreational areas, I know what it was used for this year, a lot of it was the work we did up at the school with the 2 lots there, but, you know, obviously I'd like to be able to repair some more grounds, or we talked about the storage, or we even talked about maybe even a couple playground items, you know, whether it's volleyball at the beach, or if for some reason we don't get this grant, the Gaga pit, or even small basketball hoops. So I don't know if that will go under that area or not, or is that strictly grounds?
Along that line, you and I talked about you and Clay working together on container.
Yeah.
Didn't you say you went up the road, Route 16 in Sorrow?
I did see it, yeah. That'd be a great idea.
I mean, I think
that certainly could be used for that.
I think we're talking thousands of dollars here.
I think he was talking about last meeting that it was 4,000, but it would be 2,000 for us
to buy it or
to buy it.
My thought is that if it was bought between you and Clay,
Yeah.
just think of the tables that up until 2 years ago stayed out all winter.
Yeah, yeah.
And the other thing is, in the next year, 2 years, there's rebuilding going on down at the beach, right? As it gets brought up to the state, that's a 2-year project. I would want something that's safe, that the machine isn't backing over a table,
Right.
things like
but
that.
you're not suggesting we're gonna put a container at the beach, are you?
That'd be an eyesore. I don't think
that would be.
it was at the transfer station. We talked about some of the storage and getting shelving and stuff. A lot of beach type stuff or stuff in the solid town hall. So,
You know, Clay already works with other departments, for example.
Yeah.
You want to put your boat up there for the summer,
Hmm.
you tag it properly, and he makes an area where.
Yeah.
So are you suggesting that we change the recreational areas line? Or beach and dock maintenance?
How comfortable are you putting that in your budget?
You know, I think it's something that you're gonna use year after year. I mean, if anything, we're gonna get more stuff to store, you know? And I know, like you say, downstairs sometimes gets a little messy and stuff like that. It'd be a good area to-
For example, it was you traveling around, the trash buckets didn't get picked up, and someone stole the containers on the inside, and you had to go, make do.
Right.
You know, it's little things like that that I'm coming.
Sure.
They're not fatal individually, but we now have a guy like you who is
Okay, we're
the
gonna
sheriff of town.
Let's move along here. Where do you wanna put it? Are you at 2,000 or are you at 4,000?
4.
4?
Yes.
Okay. So, right now we spent 3,000 in recreational areas.
Right.
Are we expecting there's gonna be more against that?
For the rest of this year?
Yeah.
Probably.
I don't know what goes on that one. So we have to-
What do you think?
Well, you'd have to look at the detail
Yeah.
to see what's charged in there. But
Do we make another line?
no,
Okay.
no. So,
I mean, that money spent on recreation areas is basically Zach Tufts doing, clearing both lots, he put mulch on one, stone on the other. I don't anticipate anything else the rest of the year.
okay,
So,
so,
do we make that 8,000?
yeah,
The 4 to 8,
yeah,
that's with the purchase of that,
Purchase
Container.
container.
yeah,
yeah.
okay,
Should save us money in the long run.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Some-
Trash pickup, you only got 36.
Yeah.
Something's going on with trash.
Yeah,
Okay.
trash. You only got
They're
36.
picking the trash up, but it's not getting charged
Yeah.
to that line.
Yeah, I mean, Lloyd and I have talked a number of times on the future of trash.
Well, the actual expenditures is 7,750 from 2014 forward.
They've been pretty consistent, so this year it's getting charged somewhere other than there.
Right.
I say leave it at 800.
Okay, beach and dock maintenance.
Yeah, that's, pretty standard from year to year, I guess, but
Well, it was 14,000 in 2018.
So
So it's-
that's because we ended up using that.
Right.
Well, and again, we use the money for a related purpose, but instead of, it may be a case where it got charged to, no, I take it back, that must be where the expense was, and the money came someplace else.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah. You got 200 so far against it, I know that you'll,
You still gotta take your, or the swim lines and everything, are in now? Or out?
the docks and stuff are out.
I think you
I
can email
emailed,
swim lines.
I emailed the road
I
agent
asked
on
them to.
Oh, yeah, I just emailed them on that and the benches, and leaving the one bench, therefore, throughout the year.
So the 4 should cover that.
Okay, membership dues and fees, I know, there'll be a bill of $355 to update the new Microsoft, software. And the only other thing I think of too is joining that New Hampshire, Recreation and Parks Association, which talking to other directors in neighboring towns, it's probably a good thing to join.
Yes, it is. I've heard the same thing.
Yeah, no, I just think, number one, you get to meet other directors and exchange ideas,
Networking.
certainly program exchange, discount benefits to things like that, so I think it'd be a good idea.
I used to know the gentleman in Ossipee who has since retired, and he was able to work on some deals like buying benches.
Yeah,
He and Madison and Effingham got together and
Yeah.
saved $50 on each bench. Now, that was a few years ago,
Right.
and I don't know if that's dried up, but networking is exactly
no,
what
it
you're
is.
talking
I
about.
mean, we've got the Easter egg bunny suit from, Ossipee, but I think the director of this whole, is from Conway, and they just took over part of the old high school at Canada Mills, not the high school, the other one, but half of it is now the recreation center up there. They refurbished the gym, and my grandkids grew up there, so I'm pretty familiar with a lot of their programs. But I think it would be a good idea, I really do.
Okay, and that leaves us with lifeguard drop by $300. Are you gonna be able to attract?
Yeah, I think that's what we spent, and I don't, we could keep it at 75, but I think it's 72 is probably more realistic. They go back to school before Labor Day. Try and get them in for Memorial Day, but,
My compliments to you. I've watched on a number of occasions how you nicely led those people and rewarded them, and
yeah.
spoken to one when you had to speak to someone, and that's a pat on the back. Nice job.
Yeah, thank you. I think just being on the scene more, Gina had a full-time job, and basically these lifeguards were probably left alone all day, so
Yeah.
just having that checks and balances, I think, certainly.
I just don't wanna have you get into a situation where you're constrained by the
Well,
budget.
stuck, right?
Yeah. If you're
So
happy at 72,
You want to keep it at 75, or you feel more?
It's your call.
Yeah, to be safe.
okay, so I'm gonna say
Yeah,
5.
yeah,
Excuse me.
yeah. Now, the other thing too that I think we're talking about is a lot of the program expenses, for example, whether it's the Easter thing, or the National Night Out, summer kickoff, or even this harvesting and that, a lot of that was coming out of the revolving fund.
Right.
Well, you know, the revolving fund, if it's not there, what happens? It's not budgeted. And to get a real true sense of the Parks and Rec budget, you should probably budget those items.
Well, you
Even
can't-
if it's just, you know, I mean,
we can't move it into the operating budget. So you're
but
saying,
there was a line expense saying
So you-
program expenses.
so you've added $1,200 for program expenses.
Right.
But your expectation is that you're not gonna spend that?
No, we would.
But you're gonna
Say
spend it
those
out
four
of,
events I just mentioned, maybe it's $250 each.
but you're gonna spend it out of the revolving fund?
No, I think it should be budgeted.
And we're not gonna leave the revolving fund sitting there idle. It's not gonna just accumulate. We can't do that. That's.
Okay, but I mean, like, for example,
Unless you have something special. you-
no, but I mean, like the bands that we paid,
Right,
they come out of that.
yeah.
Could I make a suggestion?
Sure.
This is your first year,
Right.
and you worked light years. Maybe next year, as you've caught up on some of these things and they're going along naturally, this could be something that you kind of research and then come back at the end of the year with, hey, folks, I've done some research, I've done some legal research.
I mean, I'm fine with
I
that.
understand where you're coming from, Chuck.
Right.
Would that be a reasonable approach?
Yeah,
I mean,
just,
like a full budget with mailings and postage and marketing. I mean, Gina did an unbelievable job marketing.
Right.
Well, do I have an item where I can go out and buy banners and buy that, you know what I'm saying?
right, you do in the form of that revolving fund.
Okay.
And then you get a vote from the committee. I think it's important, I don't know that there's been an actual accounting done on that, but that needs to happen as well. I mean, it would be nice for you to come back to this meeting next year
Right.
and say, okay, here was my budget, these are the items for X number of dollars that we paid out of the revolving fund.
Okay.
Didn't impact the budget, so, and currently you're
I
30
mean,
grand
this is what
under
Jack
budget.
just gave me on the revolving fund and stuff. As
This is
far
from
as-
Jack.
Yeah.
You know, the fire chief does this, he'll be coming in saying, our association just spent $14,000 rebuilding the bottom of the airboat.
Right.
See the track, the back of this new aluminum deck on one of our fire trucks? The association paid for that, will you please accept it as a gift? So there's accountability here.
Okay.
Well, it's a little different in that
Yes, it is.
it's actually
Right.
a town function.
This is a-
Yeah, but he's got $8,000 sitting in that account. That should give you budget enough, I would think, for your concert series,
Yeah.
you know?
No, I mean, we
And-
made money
And
on
you
the
should,
concerts.
right, and you
Bottom
should make
line.
more money.
Even after paying the bands and
Right.
paying, reimbursing the concession and
Right.
things like that.
So, yeah, use that money
Okay.
appropriately for things that are gonna generate more for that account,
I'm with
so
you.
that you're building it. Yeah,
So I'll redo this to what we talked about with some of the changes.
well, we're gonna vote here right now.
Okay.
I've got a total of 62, okay, for Parks and Rec, I'm gonna make a motion that we have a total budget of $62,061 for 2020.
That's what I have.
I'll second.
And for the record, beach and wharfs toilets have gone from 2,400 to 3,000. That's a $600 increase. Recreation areas have gone from 4,000 to 8,000. That's for the container. And lifeguards have gone from 7,200 to 7,500 for an increase in 300. And you have the right total, Mr. Chairman.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so you'll get a copy of this.
Okay.
You don't need to.
Okay.
And all these numbers will have changed.
Oh, good.
And
Okay.
then.
It'll actually be in the next line over.
Right, yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
that's right, it's a
Okay.
selection
So I have a meeting this Thursday.
budget.
Well, no, with the commission.
Okay, yeah, budget's gonna be next week, is it next week?
No, but I mean, I'd like to
We
discuss
can,
that
yep,
with them
we
on
can
the
Tuesday,
meeting.
yep.
What's that, this?
So I'll get a copy maybe
Yeah.
before
Yeah.
Thursday.
Yeah, but you need to be at the budget committee hearing on. Is it Tuesday
The
the,
8th, right?
no, tomorrow's the 8th,
Oh gosh,
better not be tomorrow.
I'm
I
losing.
think it's a week from tomorrow,
15th. Let me just look at the calendar.
anyway.
The 15th is Tuesday.
Thank you.
And that over here?
No, it's down at the town office.
Okay.
That's right.
And what time do you?
It's
6:30?
6:30.
At night?
Yeah. You'll get an agenda,
Okay.
so that you know. And I'll be there, because I'm the selectman's rep, so you'll be there to talk about your budget, I'll be there to defend it. We'll get it done.
Sounds good to me.
All right, great.
All right, gentlemen, thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Yep.
Our next budget is the executive budget, 4130. I'm sorry, on the notes for the rec, it's 4520 is the rec, Parks and Rec budget. I didn't edit mine. So, yeah, things that I noticed that are different is the salary increases for the workers based on the, what was it, 1.7% cost of living increase.
And we also have to budget in 2.5 for merit increase.
Do we?
If we're
I
gonna
don't know
do
if this, does this have that?
It does reflect it, the reason why you see kind of a difference, sorry, we had the 53-week versus the 52, because I was wondering about
Oh, okay,
that.
all right.
Right. So we've got a week less of payrolls.
Expense, yeah.
I'm gonna make a motion that we increase the selectmen's line to $75,000 each, meaning that they pay $25,000, which is less than it's worth to sit up here. I went to 5 meetings last week. Or maybe we should pay mileage, but I don't drive anymore, so. I don't see her a second, so let me know.
Sharon, can I go back, administrative assistant, administrative secretary, and clerical assistant? First of all, were the pay grades and steps left out like we have in past years?
I'm not sure what you mean by left out, but no, we did use them to move over one column. Is that what you mean? Oh, you mean left out in the notes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't see anything, so.
And for example, I'm gonna take administrative assistant. 1.7 increase, 2.5 merit increase,
Or 2%.
2%.
2%.
Step increase, yeah.
And it's less than what we appropriated this year. I don't understand the
It's a
math.
week less of
It's-
payroll.
Right.
We're only paying 52 weeks, we're not paying 53 weeks.
So that means,
Last year we paid 53 weeks. So they're getting an extra week of payroll.
Right.
that's less, that's $80 difference.
Yeah. So they got an increase in pay based on the cost of living increase and their merit increases.
I do share your concern with that first line.
Okay.
All right. Well, you take a look at the second line. All right, it goes from 41,255 to $42,006.
Okay.
That's taking a week out. The other one goes from 43,778 to 43,698.
Yeah.
So it's actually
Less.
less.
Oh, excuse me, I just remembered Diane said she's at the end, I think. So I think she just gets the COLA, now that you said that. I remember her telling me she doesn't get any more merit increases.
Is she at the?
She's all the way up.
That's why I asked for,
Thanks for checking, yeah. I forgot
that's
about
why I
that.
asked for that information.
Did you ask
The
Diane?
pay grade and the step. No, I just got this today.
Oh, I can ask her to put that in there.
Well, are we prepared to vote on this, or do we want to wait until we get them?
I'm prepared to go. I understand why that line is where it is. So I'll move the executive budget 4130, grand total of $106,804.
Second.
And that's an increase of $1,121 over 2019. So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And the last one is the reval budget. Reevaluation budget, I'm sorry. So this year we had a reevaluation. The assessor cost was, or the cost budget was $83,500. We've only expended $29,000. When's the other 60 going away? Or 50?
He hasn't sent final letters to people, he's still meeting, so I'm assuming after all that,
So historically, it's been 43,900, 44,600, 45,600, 46,224 is the proposed budget, which is in line with all the years when we're not doing major reevaluation. So I'm going to make a motion that we approve budget number 4152 for $46,224.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. On to the signature. Okay, the first item in the signature pile is a letter to Moultonborough asking them about the triangulation of town property and how to budget for that.
And actually, I think there's one for Osby and Wolfboro as well, right?
Yeah, Ossipee and
Wolfboro. So I move that we sign the formulation inquiry letters, all three of those towns.
Sorry.
all those in favor?
Aye.
And did anyone read the class action suit here?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to make a comment?
No. Self-explanatory.
I don't know if those folks out on YouTube are feeling explanted.
I hadn't thought of
This is the National Prescription Opiate Litigation class action. And we can be a party. Having read and understood the information of county, other city, Circle 1 wants to be a party with the United States District Court of Northern District of Ohio.
Have you been involved in several of the halfway houses and?
I thought we were going to talk about my drug addictions.
And with the first question I had is, are there any funds that we're going to be expected to come up with in the future? And I couldn't get that
I don't think
answer.
that they can require us to spend money if there's a class action suit about somebody else. They can only give us money if they want to. I don't know.
Could I recommend that we pass this on to the police chief? Now, 2 years ago, we had two
Okay.
deaths in town, and he successfully prosecuted 2 of them and put them in prison. We got a letter for that, and I know that he's involved in it.
Yeah, I think
This is just, my understanding is this is signing on to be part of the class that's involved in this suit. And if an award is made against the pharmaceutical companies, that if we're part of the class, then we are eligible for participation in whatever the award money is. So the only reason we wouldn't want to sign on is if we would want to pursue claims separately from the class.
Or if there are other parts of the state, say the county government or the state government, that was joining this lawsuit and would preclude us from individually being part of it, we're gonna benefit by a larger governmental entity being a member. So maybe we should talk to,
Is there a deadline?
no. I mean, I'm sure there's a deadline, but it isn't
I look at,
precipitous.
I look at, for example, the diesel, the Volkswagen lawsuit. We could take advantage of that, but we wanted to defend it.
Yeah, this is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that they're gonna, I don't know how they're gonna divide it all up, so.
I move we table, bring it up, do some
All
more
right,
research.
I'll do some research on it. Next item is the cost to add to PDF function through Avatar for what? Is going to be $1,350. This is for our mapping company to add something from Avatar.
Yeah, so,
Export cards to PDF.
This is an additional function from Avatar that will allow us to transfer the tax cards to CAI.
yeah, to be part of our online mapping program. And I'm charging,
And
CAI is gonna pay for it because we've had some, what I felt were misrepresentations of what we needed to do as a
so are
town.
we,
So,
we're being asked to sign for $1,350.
That's correct, but it's more the town is gonna have this agreement with Avatar, but CAI is gonna pay the bill. I actually already got a copy of the check they mailed.
Then why do we sign it?
And I know what you mean, it is a funny situation.
Because-
It's probably like, so I
because
won't
we
use
have
the
a
software
service agreement
incorrectly
with
or
Avatar.
something.
Right.
Pardon?
We have a service agreement with Avatar.
Right, right.
So,
Okay, does the board wish me to sign this?
Are you comfortable with?
yes. Yeah.
We need the
We have-
service.
We have an ongoing relationship with Avatar, okay? For an additional function, which is these tax cards, you pay some additional money. That's what this is covering. Somebody else is gonna pay the money, but we have to order the service because we're the customer.
We're the legal customer.
Right.
I trust your judgment, and I have no problem with you saying.
I'm waiting for a motion.
So move.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
thank you for answering my question. That makes sense now.
So the answer is too many lawyers. That's why we got all this paperwork to
I
sign all
can,
the
I can
time.
tell you that about
What's
last week.
this, 7?
Yeah.
You went through it.
Okay. The next item is for George Sansucci. This is with regard to the PSNH Eversource Energy
This is
utilities.
our assessment agreement with Sansucci on utilities.
It is a 5-year this time, I noticed, and I think it's because of the utility litigation. So the term length's longer.
Are you folks comfortable with 5 years?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'll so move. Please.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I saw him in action 2 weekends ago, and it was a positive experience.
Okay, we've been asked by Kimberly Plant, a landowner on Piper Road, to give an agreement and release pursuant to RSA 674:41, whereas she's building or wants a building permit on a Class 6 road. That requires that, and this is on map 64, block 4, lot 2. And this requires that the landowner hold the town harmless for any portions of damage by anyone as a result of the use of Class 6 portion of Piper Road, and condition precedent to the issuance of landowner said building permit. The submission to said Board of Selectmen by landowner of evidence of this notice of limits of liability and responsibility and liability with respect to Class 6 portions of Piper Road has been recorded at the Carroll County Registry of Deeds. The landowner will be responsible for maintaining access to said real estate at a minimum travel width of 12 feet with 4-foot shoulders. And does hereby forever release and discharge the town for any loss or damage, including without limitation any loss or damage incurred through the town's failure to provide municipal services such as police, fire, and ambulance, or the landowner's inability to otherwise obtain such services due to the condition of the Class 6 portions of said road. Are we ready to sign?
Yes.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We already have buildings in remote areas that are covered by similar agreements. This is really a fun
The next item is a tax abatement for an eligible veteran's widow. And I guess all the conditions have been met. Karen?
That's correct, oh, sorry, yes.
Yeah.
What tax law is it?
No, actually, this is a veteran's credit.
Didn't I say-
Oh, yes, you said elderly, didn't you?
Oh, I thought
Yep,
so.
it is veterans.
It's a veteran's credit.
But I thought it was oh,
Not, well, she's not a widow.
okay, so she's,
Spouse.
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, that was unique, that was a little bit of a
We
learning
haven't killed him
experience.
yet, but we might. All right. All
Move approval.
all
Second.
those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And the next item is a approval for burial, right of burial. This is Heather and Tyler Phillips are still with us, but this is a right of burial.
Son.
Move approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the next item for signature is just a thank you letter to Ann Chappell, who worked for the town for 15 years and has resigned her position.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And
We have more than one page here, guys.
oh my God, really? How many burials are there? Okay, the next, should I list them? Are they different people or are they all the same
No.
person?
Just copies of the same bill.
Oh, okay.
There are different lots, I can just say them if you like.
Yes.
F51, F50, C47, and then there's a document for E45 and 46.
What was I thinking? I was thinking didn't enter into it. Well, it's the signature little sticker things, that's what confused me. They're all on top of each other. Okay. And last is, I'm sorry?
Thanks for noticing that, Lloyd.
Yeah.
This is a notice of lien to be put on a piece of property here in Tufton pursuant to RSA 165:28. And it's on lot number 5516-32. Well, that's got a lot of numbers. That's the book number.
I'll move approval.
Sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. What's that?
Made it through before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, selectmen's updates. Excuse me. What do you got? Anything?
So we had another long session at the planning board with friends and neighbors of Farm Island as we continue to work our way through the process on approval of that subdivision. I think we're getting pretty close to having all the information and understanding we need to act on the application. It has been continued to the meeting on the 17th. And that meeting will be right here in the townhouse. So, we anticipate we'll be ready to act on it that evening, close out all the ongoing conversation and provide our decision. So
Did the Camp Belknap issue come up on
it was mentioned in the audience, but
it's just a code enforcement issue, not a plan?
well, ultimately, it will. My understanding is they're going to need to go to ZBA as well as a planning board.
Mhm.
But like so many things that are done without the proper procedure being followed, it's always a little messier after the fact to get it done. So, planning board has not seen anything on that yet. And I honestly don't know where they're at. That's it for me, for most of it.
I'm gonna go on forever, what do you got?
I've gone through this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 job evaluations that are pending, 3 that we need to turn out, and 3 copies that we need to receive.
Those are the people?
Those are the dates of their anniversary.
Great.
Number 2 is about ready to go into the next stage about the issues with Tuftonboro Corner. It was a very positive meeting. I'll give you the background. There were 16 non-federal aid highway eligible highways in the Lakes region, of which we have 171. And that includes our brothers to the left and right, because it goes through Moultonboro and Ossipee. To talk about Tuftonboro Corner, Mark Howard for 3 years has been in a congenial conversation with C.R. Wilkie of DOT, and I've talked and met and reviewed and whatnot. Mark stepped up to the plate and came up with a sample letter, and we involved the TAC Committee, Lakes Region and Planning. That was heard October 2nd at the TAC meeting here. Interesting enough, 5 people at that meeting are familiar with Tuftonboro intersection. At that time, a representative of the state was there and talked about a letter that was sent to Jeff Hayes, 27 March 18, from Alan Hanscom, the district engineer, and we were sent a copy. Of course, some of the suggestions about this intersection were we could plow snow away from the intersection instead of toward it. And we
What
could,
does that mean?
I don't know, we could work to periodically remove the pile of snow that blocks sighting distances. And I know that for the last 10 years, the state, the town road agent, and a private contractor have alternated snowstorms of moving all the snow that they can. what I would like to do is have your permission to meet with Alan Hanscom, district engineer, and talk about stop signs, rumble strips, also improving visibility signs, cutting brush back. Anything that I would do, I'd come back to you folks. Since in the last month alone, a citizen told me that he was coming up from the dump, and a tractor trailer, chip truck, 40 miles an hour went through the stop sign. I can find 2 or 3 other people that have said the same thing. It's a dangerous intersection, and it's unique, but I'd like to get back to you, do some research and get back to what we can do. Thank you. That's it.
Yeah, you're free to do anything you want on your own. It's just, you can't commit to the board.
Correct.
Where did I met with Executive Counselor Mike Cryans on, was it? No, it was Sunday last week, so last of September, I guess it was. I had given him a copy of the plans that our engineer Tyler Phillips had come up with and walked him through all the way out to the end and all the way back. He sees what the issues are and has set up a meeting with Tyler Phillips, myself, and Randy Pelletier from DES for October 9th, which is coming right up.
Wednesday, yeah.
Wednesday at 10 o'clock. If one of you guys wants to go as well, we need to post it, so we can get it.
I am not available then.
Okay,
I'm not available.
all right, so I'll report back on it. And with regards to this, Sue Weeks did mention that she's doing a little research. She has found, newspaper articles, etc., from the 1930s back into the 1890s, referring to 19 Mile Pier. And it was originally, or initially, once the original wooden pier floated away, they put in the stone pier. It was built by citizen volunteers. And one of the questions that came up in one of the articles was who owns it now? I mean, so the town did do a vote to allocate funding for that wharf back a long time ago. She's gonna go through the town records and see if she can find a warrant article that stated that. This was way before DES was invented, so even before water supply and pollution control was around. So a lot of the activity that happened in 19 Mile Bay was pre-state regulation on that particular issue. But I'm looking forward to the meeting with Mr. Pelletier. I think he's a commissioner of the DES, so
Right.
we'll find out later. Went to the budget meeting, got scolded, but lived through it. The budget committee has approved most of the budgets we submitted, except for solid waste. They want to hear from Clay. They're not comfortable just hearing from me, so that's fine. They want health insurance examined more closely, so I've got Diane working on some bids. I'm going to try to set up a meeting this week with
Don't trust.
member of the bill, Tom.
I don't know his last name.
Young, Tom Young, from the budget committee, who seems to have some insight into less expensive insurances from his business. Went to an internet meeting in Albany. This is the high-speed internet initiative. And a couple of items were discussed. The meeting I went to in Wakefield, we talked about wireless, because Wolfboro, I guess, is going to get into the wireless high-speed internet business. The focus in Albany was more on fiber optics. And Sandwich has gotten a number to wire every house in Sandwich with fiber optic high-speed cable at $1,200,000 and they have their own municipal cable company. And with a revenue picture of $574,000 a year, it actually comes with a 5-year payback. So it's not a bad way to go. Also, one of the things that came up in that meeting was that the co-op has been approached about utilizing space below their power cable for fiber optic cable. And there's some resistance from co-op, for whatever reason. It's kind of like being a climate denier, just going to deny that we need fiber optics. But it is technically a cooperative, so the members would have a voice in how this happens. So that's going to be an ongoing procedure. There are 2 or 3 major players in the fiber optic high-speed internet world, 2 of which are going to come, I believe, to the next communications meeting. And one thing that we sort of all agreed on, and I did finally after I understood the process a little better, was most of the towns in Carroll County who are all members of this initiative are signing 1-year cable agreements. So all the cable agreements that are coming forward are only for 1 year, for annual renewal. There's a lot of pushback from the cable companies, but there's really nothing they can do. So I'm going to suggest that when we get into that, we start looking at a 1 year. The point being that if we can get high-speed fiber optic internet cable, it really makes the cable company move. I mean, you'll be into 10 years from now, maybe even 5 years from now, you get most of your stuff off of the cable, the internet. I mean, having this separate cable company is probably not going to happen. At any rate, that was the conversation that was going on there. Then I met with the library building committee. That seems to be going along pretty well. I did mention to Jack the hard hat issue that I had. They claimed that they were going to have it all shingled by this week, or the end of last week. So we'll see what happens. I'll go look at it. The other item that came up, and we need to talk about this, is they need to reshingle the front of the building, the old section. And do we create another warrant article to fund that? Do they try to scare out of the budget that they've got for the new building? How do we want to proceed? Or do we put it into a maintenance line for the budget, the operating budget? I mean, it's a 35-year-old roof. It was going to happen sooner or later. But, so that's a discussion that's ongoing at the library, but probably, and also they wouldn't be doing it until next spring, because that's when they're going to tie together all the extraneous bits. I'm trying to think, I thought there was another meeting I went to.
That's your quote.
If I haven't reported on it, I didn't listen carefully enough. So correspondence.
While you're doing correspondence, I looked at the schedule of meetings. Is there a reason why highways and transfer station weren't here today?
Well, Clay is traveling.
He has an assistant.
Okay, I didn't know, I never done that before. But I worked with Clay
And highway?
in highway. I talked to Chip about where Jim was just in, we waited till November.
Okay.
So while we're on meeting schedules, I mentioned to Karen the other day, I don't know if I mentioned to you guys, I'm not here on the 20th. Monday the 28th, I'm out of town. So maybe it would be appropriate to schedule a work session the 25th, which is the Friday before.
Yeah, we gotta be here anyway.
Okay, so you guys are certainly welcome to meet without me, but just
Yeah, it's just easy, you know, So we'll cancel the 28th meeting,
Okay.
reschedule for the 25th. And
Thank you.
in correspondence, we talked about the Avatar issue with Franco Rossi, Bachelor, so that's all done. We've got a request from Joint Loss Management Committee about reports. They need to respond by October 16th. Have they all been given this?
Well, that's, all the department heads have been given a report. That one is yours specifically though, so I didn't know if you wanted me to write something back to them regarding those items and if they've been mitigated or not.
Yes, please.
Okay, can you help me with that? And what things have been done?
Okay.
But you'll be able to
Twin
help me with
States Technology.
I'll get with you on that.
it? Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm sorry, pass it the wrong way. I have no idea.
This is somebody that's, soliciting business and that one.
Yeah, I don't know, the library would have to bring this forward to us.
I don't know what it is, but what they do.
Specializing in building infrastructure, unified communications, and collaboration, cybersecurity, and IT will help you meet your project's goals. This needs to be, Karen, the Twin States Technology, can that go to the library
Sure.
and also to the chief of police? Great. Get a chance to vote on New Hampshire Association of Assessing Officials. Do we know anybody here?
Let Rob look into it.
You want to have him recommend?
Yep. Let him make a recommendation to us. He works with the assessors.
All right, so Karen, can you give this to Rod to give us a recommendation?
Sure.
Okay, this is from Clay. It's going to be out until the 13th of October. And the Driftwood Cove
He's a new
naming has been handled. Do we want to create an ordinance against the public plowing seasonally named as of, was it going to of right there? Yeah, of seasonally maintained town roads? I don't know. Do we have, I thought we had that in.
Could that be class 6 roads?
No,
Camp roads?
Camp roads.
camp roads.
Can you think of what road it applies to?
Sure. You got Lang Pond Road,
Right.
you got County Road. Those are the two that we've had issues in the past with people plowing and tearing up.
And it's gonna be, yeah, it's gonna happen again.
Right.
So I guess we need to come up with, well, okay, can we put this in the road agent's file?
Yeah.
Karen?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to them about that problem or issue.
Okay.
Swap Shop Committee are recommending that the swap shop close on November 3rd for the season and reopen in the spring of 2020.
Who's that from?
This is from Thank You. The committee will clean out the shop. We feel it was very successful endeavor with lots of positive feedback. Signage will be put out immediately concerning this closure. Well, the only alternative would be to have the Clay manage it, and I don't think that's gonna happen.
And I was away when the committee met last week, but I think it's just my understanding is it's a combination of there's less demand in the wintertime
Right.
and
More cold.
and more cold, right? So the volunteers have done
I think it's between Dan and Clyde.
a good job
Yes, they have.
of this summer, but to stand out there by that container
Yes.
in the wintertime. And you had the safety issues as well with the
Yes.
ice on steel. So November 3rd, will be the end of this season, and pick it up again in the spring.
Work with
So you'll give this to Clay, Kevin,
Sure.
so that he's aware of it,
Mhm.
can comment on it if he wants to. David Alwine sent us a lab report having flunked high school chemistry. I'm gonna leave this to somebody else to read, but it was mistakenly left, I mistakenly left out the lab report from use of the submitted GMP removal application. Thompson for your records, a copy will also be uploaded to DES.
Another sample.
And there's another meeting of the Carroll County Broadband Committee on October 17th at 10 a.m. at 27 Cleveland Hill Road in Tamworth. Where that is.
That's the Tamworth Town Office.
Versus the library? Yeah. I think it's the town office, yeah.
I think townhouse maybe at the top. Does it say it at the top? I had trouble finding it too. I think it's the
Townhouse,
Yeah.
you're right, I'm sorry. Okay. So, that's the 17th, that's next week, next Thursday.
Next Thursday, yeah.
Okay. There was another Broadband USA or Broadband Initiative meeting that was getting scheduled for the Effingham Grammar School about schools and their participation in this initiative. And I'm not sure when that is. And I'm not sure it was even finalized what the date would be, but they're trying to enlist here it is. October 7th, that would be today, would it not?
Yeah.
They're meeting at the Effingham Elementary School about the school initiatives, and there is someone from Tuftsboro. Jim Manning is going to be there. So, that'll be him. Good. Great. And I think it's important that the schools do get involved, because it's just as important for them, maybe more important.
Yeah.
Any other business?
Any update on the cable contract?
No.
Thank you.
No. And other than an idea that we need to sign just a one-year agreement as opposed to multi-year agreements.
Thank you.
Talked to both times.
Did you write something?
Yeah. Please change it however you want.
Oh, I put a copy in of a modified version in the correspondence, I believe, in the yellow folder.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it has been revised.
Okay, there's a revised,
All right, when is this due?
yesterday.
Last Friday.
Yeah, sometime.
What?
It went in last Friday.
So it's I can edit all I want.
Don't get a paper cut.
Yeah, Jesus. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
So what are you constructing today?
Sheet rock.